Okay, here's the density setup, and what we have is a scale, and we're going to do a standard industry density setup. We've got a hook underneath here that we have to be careful to attach to the bar on top, and it screws in, and you must be careful not to screw it in too far, and then this little tray hooks onto it, so that should be on it when you're leveling it, so everything's level. And the scale goes on top of this green container, and you want to make sure it's stable and level. Unfortunately, they put the level in the back, so it's just a bubble level, and you just have to make sure to check that it's level. But you don't want to lean on the table because that will disturb the level, so you must stand on a chair and look over. We then put the measuring plate on top. This is the measuring plate, and that should be nice and clean. And that goes on the little sensors here. And I like to keep a piece of, where did it go? Press stick.
Oh, sorry.
Which somebody used. A piece of press stick available because we often measure core on the top, and this helps to keep the core from rolling off. So we'll put the press stick there. We then plug it in. We got a nice plug. It let's see where it goes. It goes on the side here. It says DC input. Make sure it's plugged in all the way, and then plugged in over here, and then the switch is on, and then the light should come on. It says charging. I can't remember if there's a battery in this one or not, but anyways, it's on. And we switch it on, the weights come on, and it will reset itself to 0. It says 0 grams. You can see it's very, very sensitive if I blow on it. So it's got a very sensitive balance. And with it's obviously not measuring these pieces of press stick because it's normalized to them. So the first thing we do is take one of our standards, and this is the 500 gram standard, and we put that on, and we get 500 grams, so we know that it's calibrated correctly. And then we can do the kilogram standard, and these should be handled very gently. Okay, so that one's a tiny bit off. But these have not been handled as carefully as they should be because they've been to the field. As we get more set up, we will be getting higher grade standards. The other thing to do is so now you see it's measuring minus 0.1 grams. So we want to tare it. So we push the tare button, or is it this one? There we go. We zero it there. Okay. We also want to check that it's measuring correctly underneath. So we put it underneath, and we see it measures 500 grams underneath. So this should be done at the beginning and end of every time you use the scale, so that you make sure your measurements are good. And then we fill this up with water so that we can do weight in air and weight in water. We've got a handy little container that
This one?
was here, yeah. I just use this so we can have the sink right here, and we fill it up with water, and we don't have to move things around too much. So the idea is to keep things in one position as much as possible. And that's it for now for the scale. We'll get a piece of rock to measure in just a moment.